One interesting quote that I've seen recently said, you're not being replaced by AI, but you're being replaced by a human using AI.
Techsauce Global, sparking innovative thoughts. It is a new year, and of course, a lot of challenges ahead, but also at the same time, a lot of hope that there's going to be positive trends to come. Swadika, you're listening to the latest episode of Techsauce Global Podcast with me, Chawodat Yongjiranon, the Global Podcast a host and also a global content editor at Techsauce Media. And of course, some may know me as Pupe. Today, I'm very excited indeed to talk about what we should expect for 2023, because obviously a lot of us are hoping for positive things to come. So with me, I'm very excited to introduce to our program Thomas Klaffke, the head of trends research of Trendwatching, who is joining us all the way from Amsterdam. Swadika, hello.
Hello. Nice to be here on the program.
I'm so happy to talk with you today, Thomas, and I'm so happy that we were able to connect with you across the pond. Oh, no, it's not the pond, across many continents. Okay. Anyways, to start off our talk, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Trendwatching?
Sure. Yeah. So, as you said, my name is Thomas. I'm the head of research or trends research at Trendwatching. If you don't know Trendwatching, we are a trend intelligence firm. We've been around since around 20 years now. And we are basically providing clients from all around the world with insights on consumer trends and how they can use them to create new innovations and strategies. Our main product is basically a platform on which we have, thousands of innovations, lots of industry reports and trends that is used now by over 800 clients from all around the world, big names like Samsung, Netflix, Google, and so on. And we also do presentations with these clients and workshops, as well as custom reports if they ask for them. As a head of research, I'm basically responsible for our research system. And together with two of my colleagues, I'm also managing our overall content strategy at Trendwatching. And next to that role, I'm also heading our sister company, Business of Purpose, which is a community for purpose-driven business professionals who are, eager to kind of change the business world and create more sustainable and ethical businesses. And just a little bit about my background very shortly. I have a master's degree in future studies. Before working at Trendwatching, I've worked at other foresight and innovation consultancies, mostly in Germany. I'm originally from Germany, but also in South Africa. And I've actually also once worked in Southeast Asia. I stayed a year in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
And did some development aid work there, also analyzing basically news and developments in the country.
I feel so lucky that we have a chance to talk today. I think it's definitely going to be interesting as to seeing what you think about the situation, not only in Southeast Asia, but also across the world. So let's get to it then. What are the top trends do you expect, that will shape 2023?
Yeah. So every end of the year, we kind of publish our big trend report for the coming year. And last year or this time, we launched our trend report 2023 end of November, and we identified 9 trends within that trend report. Now, it would be probably too long to talk about all of these 9 trends, but I think the ones that are most important for this year are: number one is what we call drafted by AI. So this is really about kind of the generative AI boom that we're seeing right now, that probably many of you have also kind of become aware of, seeing people, post examples of using ChatGPT on social media, for example, using like DALL-E, this other tool by OpenAI, which is one of the biggest companies within this field right now, to come up with interesting new kind of AI-generated images and these kinds of things. We call it this trend drafted by AI because we think it will really kind of supercharge human creation. And one of the kind of biggest questions that we usually get regarding this trend is the hype real, basically? Because there's so much happening right now in this field. There are so many startups and so many, tools kind of being launched, and everyone is talking about it. And there's definitely some caution with that. You have to, whenever there's like a big technological revolution, you also see a little bit of a bubble forming of, lots of people being excited about it, going into the space and developing something that at some point might turn out not to be that valuable. But in order to answer the question, I would definitely say yes, the hype is real. And we really think this is one of the biggest technological breakthroughs that we've seen in the last couple of decades. We equate it often to kind of the iPhone moment, or the internet even, because it's really going to change how we all work and how we create content. So that is, I think, one of the biggest trends this year.
I think that's, it's so good that you're pointing that out, that a lot of people might be concerned that is it a hype, because over the past few years, we've seen things come, blow up, and then go. Some, some silently, some not so silently, and this issue about AI has always been in the background. Whether we're seeing it, talking about blockchain or talking about the metaverse. AI has always been there in the background. So it's going to be interesting to see how it will be applied, but also at the same time the speed of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Can I just have a follow-up on that? I mean, how fast do you think AI will make its presence in the market, in the general market? I mean, do you think it's going to be within this year that we're going to feel it, or next year?
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen in late November last year when OpenAI released this tool called ChatGPT. It reached 1 million users in a matter of 5 days. And compared to kind of Netflix, for example, reached the same amount of users in 3.5 years, or Instagram in like 2.5 months, which was already kind of very fast, but ChatGPT is even faster. Then I think in April, we'll see Microsoft integrate ChatGPT into Bing, its search platform. And we'll also see Microsoft integrating that AI into their Microsoft Office suite. So we are, I think, seeing this trend really play out extremely fast this year. We have like different levels of trends in our framework, kind of sub-trends, smaller trends, mega trends that are kind of the big consumer shifts, and then macro trends, which are kind of the big global shifts. We define this one as being a sub-trend still, but it's moving so fast that it will, I think, in a few months talk about it as a kind of macro trend almost, that will change quite a lot of things. And yeah, if you're looking into kind of the investment field, there's so much money now available for startups that are working in generative AI. So I think we'll see lots of new kind of tools and apps coming out in the next couple of months that are being used by lots of people around the world. Yeah.
I have another follow-up. I can't help myself. Yeah. I think a lot of people are also thinking the same way as me. It's like, when things come really fast, right? It can go really fast as well. But it's interesting how you say that this is a sub-trend that is growing quite strongly. Do you think that there will be ups and downs with the AI situation in terms of like because when a trend moves so fast, it's also in terms of like, is the environment ready for it, or is it the right timing? Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, is that a concern in terms of like the speed, or do you think, from your experience of looking at trends that have become very impactful, that this trend is moving along the right speed?
Yeah, I mean, this one is definitely moving along very fast, maybe too fast. And there's definitely, with technological innovations and trends, it's definitely, you always have like a phase after kind of the hype phase. You'll have a phase of what Gartner, the research firm, I think calls kind of disillusionment. It's when people kind of realize not everything that was kind of promised in the hype phase is actually being kind of implemented or coming to fruition. So we'll definitely see that at some point this year as well, I think. But the underlying technology and the underlying kind of opportunities of this new trend are so big that I think it will still, change us for many years to come. So despite it being kind of very hyped and everything, it's not going to be kind of like the NFT hype that we've seen in the last 2 years or so that will come very quickly and go away. And compared to Web3 and these kinds of technologies, it's very hard to kind of go into crypto. You need to, as a consumer, you need to kind of, understand a little bit kind of finances. You need to understand a little bit different kind of internet technologies in order to kind of create your own account and everything. The adoption is much more difficult. With generative AI, however, you just have to log in to ChatGPT, and it's a simple, chat interface. You can just start chatting and experimenting yourself. You don't need any knowledge. That's why this one will, take off. Definitely.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move on now because you have limited
Yes.
time. Okay. Bangkok is in Southeast Asia. And as we all, always talk to our speakers from overseas, it's always interesting to see the perspective of, someone, because sometimes when you're in it, in the ecosystem, you might not see the bigger picture. So I'm asking you today as to, what do you see in terms of, the growth or the possible growth industries in Southeast Asia right now?
Yeah. So I think one of the kind of bigger trends and bigger opportunities that we're seeing all around the world, but specifically for Southeast Asia, is the creator economy. We've seen, I think, lots of uptake in terms of people using the internet, social media, shopping via the internet since the pandemic. I've looked at a couple of statistics and saw that when you look at the top 10 countries in terms of e-commerce retail growth in the last few years, the top 2 are the Philippines and Malaysia, out of all countries in the world. So what we're seeing in the region, I think, is a huge uptick that kind of came on top of already kind of fast growth and internet penetration and using all these kinds of services and social media and so on, that was accelerated again through COVID and the pandemic. One of the biggest kind of mega trends that we look at is the creator economy, because through different kind of technological innovations, but also consumer changes, social innovation, we're seeing that people are increasingly interested in trusting kind of creators more than brands almost. So I think there's like a big opportunity in the region, but also globally in general, to go deeper into creator economy. And that doesn't, mean that you should now become a creator yourself or so. And there's lots of stuff that is being built within the creator economy, tools that creators use, all sorts of different applications that need to be kind of integrated into this whole ecosystem that is being built. And it is also being, of course, kind of driven by this generative AI boom that allows people to more easily create things, also entire kind of products and creator-led companies, basically, because you don't really need to invest that much time anymore into hiring lots of different people or so. You can just use AI for that, basically. And then, as I said, I think consumers have increasingly kind of lost a bit of trust in institutions in general, but also brands, and are looking for new things to try out. We've seen through a lot of studies that consumer loyalty has decreased quite a lot in the last couple of years, also mostly since the pandemic. So people are really eager to try out new brands and new things. And one way of how they're connecting to other people and creating trust again is mostly through kind of social media and communities and following certain creators and accounts and also through fandom, having certain bands or series or games that they really like, and how kind of they connect to other people that have similar interests. So all of that coming together is really creating this perfect mix there for the opportunity of creating an even bigger creator economy in the next couple of years.
Well, on the other side, though, with this growth, what do you think will be, or are you seeing or observing any common challenges that businesses might be facing, when they're operating in the region of Southeast Asia? And how do you think that, they can overcome it?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I think this trust problem with consumers is one of the biggest challenges. So you really have to ask yourself, like, how can you stay relevant for consumers and in consumers' minds? As I said, customer loyalty has been decreasing. People are eager to try new brands out. So what we advise our clients is to really look into kind of this whole idea of community, and thinking of your main product maybe not being the actual kind of physical product that you sell, but being a sort of culture, a sort of community that you build together with your consumers. There's different ways of doing that, but one important thing to consider here is always to do it together with your customers. Don't really create a community and then sell it to your customers, but create it with your customers, basically. And I think that is something that will kind of help you, regain trust and build a solid foundation on which you can then also, create other funnels of growth, like new products, new services, all kinds of things. And there's also with that, there's not really like a shortcut to it. I think it's really in the future, we'll see companies become successful because of their cultures and communities. And those who invest a lot of time and energy right now will reap the benefits eventually, I think. So that
There's
is
no
one.
easy way out, right?
There's no easy way out.
Yeah. I think,
Um,
I think that's so interesting how you said, create ownership, customer ownership, and we're seeing somewhat of that happening. And I think that bond, between the customer and the company would be much stronger. So
yeah.
when you talk about artificial intelligence or AI, just to go back on this trend, how is it going to be applied then to these situations that we just talked about? And in terms of like in 2003, how much progress do you think AI will make?
Yeah. So there's a recent stat that came out that showed that it was like a survey of executives from large companies all around the world, and these executives basically said 92% of them, almost all of them, said that they have now been achieving serious returns on their AI investments. And in 2017, when they did this study the first time, only 48% said the same thing. So we're seeing that those who invest early in AI are now increasingly reaping the benefits, which is, more profits, but also a competitive advantage. And especially now with the generative AI, this kind of new type of AI that is, booming right now, we also see those companies who've already been investing in AI in the past be able to kind of adjust more easily to this new type of AI boom right now. So that is one big topic, I would say. Another one is really a little bit what I said earlier already. This is really kind of a form of people empowerment. So lots of people are talking about the replacement of humans or of workers through AI. While there's definitely something to be discussed around that topic, one interesting quote that I've seen recently said, "You're not being replaced by AI, but you're being replaced by a human using AI." So I think one of the core kind of implications of this wave is that you need to really understand how you can use these tools, and how your team, how your different kind of employees can leverage them in order to become more productive, more efficient, and also more creative in the work that they're doing.
Could you compare this then to, the evolution of like the computer coming into the workforce, back then in the day, when, computers were just coming to the scene of, I'm sure a lot of people had that similar sense of concern about, computers taking over people's jobs and whatnot. With AI here, how do you think the transition will take place? Um, uh, as you mentioned, AI is kind of unique in that it's not going to. Well, it depends, right? If you're the consumer, it's easy to use, but if you're the person behind the AI technology or the workforce, supporting the AI, technology, do you think that the workforce can, transition into, their new positions or the new skill set easily, or is it going to be of a challenge?
Yeah, I think that will be kind of the big question for this year, specifically as more of these tools come out and as more of these kind of AI capabilities will be integrated in tools that you're already using, whether that's like Google Docs or just email or so. And it's really kind of a new skill set that you need. I like the comparison that you made to kind of the computer age. Another comparison that I also like to make is to just using Google, basically, which is kind of also an AI, but we don't really think about it that way all the time. But there's different types of people, and some people can use Google very efficiently, and no matter which in which work you are, it's kind of important to be able to use Google efficiently. Some developers need Google all the time to kind of figure out how to solve specific coding challenges and these kinds of things. With these new AI tools like ChatGPT, it will be similar. Those who kind of develop this new unique skill set and how to kind of talk with the AI, how to leverage it, will be kind of much more productive and have a much more kind of convenient work life than the others, and will thereby kind of differentiate themselves from others. So it will be very important for workers and companies to upskill and to kind of test these new AI tools and figure out how to best use them.
So, with that said, for those who are startups or those who are companies, corporates that are listening in right now to our conversation, what are some of the ways that businesses can stay informed about the industry trends and the new technologies? I mean, you just mentioned a little bit about what they can do in terms of adopting AI, but the world is moving very fast. What is your advice?
Yeah, I mean, there's of course lots of different ways of how you can stay informed. In general, we advise our clients to always firstly create kind of a framework that they can use in order to kind of source different information. So really figure out kind of what are the kind of top topics and themes that you're interested in, that you want to kind of monitor for your business. And then figure out kind of what are the best sources within these. And these could be, experts on Twitter or social media. It could be, industry magazines, online blogs, and so on. It could be newsletters or podcasts like this one. There's all sorts of different, of course, sources online that you can use for that. A little bit of self-promotion would, of course, be to also name
Sure.
Trend
We're all about
Watching.
connecting.
So yeah, you can definitely go on trendwatching.com and subscribe to our free newsletter. We also have basically like a whole database of free to explore innovations and trends on our website that people can look into. And with our newsletter, we send out 5 innovations every week and some other insights that we think are very important to have a look at. And actually, we are also coming to Bangkok this year in September. Early September, we'll come and do kind of an in-person seminar, an event on trends for the next year, then for 2024. So we're still working on organizing this, but you can either get more information if you sign up for our newsletter, or if you contact our partner, Simple Work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, Techsauce as well,
And of course, Techsauce as well.
Techsauce. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to leave a little bit in terms of like a key takeaway for our listeners. I mean, I think a lot of companies, might get very overwhelmed with a lot of trends that are flying around. What is your advice for companies in terms of knowing what trend is for them? In terms of like what trend should they be concerned about? How can they know the difference between which ones are not necessarily what they need and which ones they should really get on top of?
Yeah. So I think it really starts with knowing yourself and your business. Basically, you have to really understand what you're actually doing, and that is easier said than done sometimes. You have to really understand, like, in which industry you're playing, basically, in which market you are in, and what are the different kind of systemic factors within that market that are interesting to track, that have like a potential of change. So it really comes down to kind of building this framework that I spoke about earlier. A couple of suggestions that we can also give. You can also go on our website. We have like a trend check on our website. You find it if you go there, because we have 15 mega trends that we recommend everyone to have a look into. So it's a little bit more complex. On the one hand, you really want to kind of figure out what you're doing, in which market you're playing, and then kind of identify the topics within that are interesting. And on the other hand, there's certain mega trends that we believe are going to be impactful no matter which industry you are in. And it always also is quite interesting to look at other industries and see how that can relate to your market, and certain kind of ideas that you can take out of innovations from other industries. So I would do kind of both. Focus a little bit on your industry and build your own framework and things that you can track and monitor for that. But also with like 20% of your time, have a look at kind of the overall kind of changes that are happening.
Wow, Thomas, I'm so excited that I've been able to talk to you. And I think a lot of us are probably more interested into, what to expect for trend watching. And we're very happy that you're coming to Bangkok. For our listeners who want to know more, of course, as Thomas said, you can contact Trend Watching online, or of course, you can seek for more information from our Techsauce team. Thank you so much, Thomas, for being with us here today. And hopefully we can talk to you when you come to Bangkok.
Yes, that would be great.
Thank you
very much.
Okay, thank you. สวัสดีค่ะ
Techsauce, sparking innovative thoughts.